Hi, we're going to look at designing a training program for an 18-year-old footballer who needs to develop his cardiovascular endurance. Cardiovascular endurance is the ability to work for a long period of time without getting tired. This is what a footballer needs. A footballer needs to be able to last 90 minutes of a game with maybe a little bit left over just in case it goes to extra time. Before any training program begins, we must assess the footballer's current level of cardiovascular endurance. The test we use is called a multi-stage fitness test, otherwise known as a bleep test. Okay, so now we know how fit the athlete is because they've completed the multi-stage fitness test. So now we can begin to plan the training program, especially for that athlete. So we need to take into consideration the principles of training. The principles of training are easily remembered by an acronym called SPORT. S stands for specificity, P stands for progression, O stands for overload, R stands for reversibility, and T stands for tedium. These are our principles of training, and these are needed when planning any training program. The first letter of our acronym SPORT is S for specificity. Training must be specific to the sport and to the person. There is no point us going into the gym and doing weight training, building up muscular strength, because we need to develop cardiovascular endurance. So we need to choose a training method that will develop this type of fitness and only this type of fitness. I've chosen to use fartlek training for this footballer's training program. Fartlek training means a play on speed, so there's no rest time. You're always moving, whether it's walking, jogging, running or sprinting. This is great for any type of invasion game because you're always on the go and you're always using different types of speeds. The second letter in the acronym SPORT is P. P stands for progression. The training needs to be gradually increased as the body adjusts to the workload. If you don't increase, then unfortunately there's going to be no improvement to this footballer's cardiovascular endurance. The third letter in the acronym SPORT is O for overload. This involves making the body work harder in order to improve. And there are three ways which you can overload the body. First of all, you can increase the frequency, the intensity, or the time. Frequency, this means how often you train, so you might want to increase it from once a week to twice a week. The intensity, how hard you train. Are you working at 60 to 80%, or maybe you can work even harder, 80 to 90%. And of course T stands for time, how long you train for. The fourth letter, R. R stands for reversibility. Training must be continuous if improvement is going to occur. There's a saying, use it or lose it. If you suddenly stop training halfway through your 6-week training program and you miss 2 or 3 weeks of training, then unfortunately your fitness is going to go back to where it started from or very near it. So use it or lose it. And finally, T stands for tedium. Training mustn't be boring. If it's boring, you'll give up and you won't try hard. This is why we've probably chosen fartlek training, because fartlek training is interesting. There's always something different happening. Okay, so after we finish our 6-week training program, we must complete the same test we did at the very beginning in order to see if any improvement has occurred. So we do the multi-stage fitness test again. And bearing in mind, if we have followed all our principles of training of specificity, progression, overload, reversibility and tedium, then hopefully we would see a vast improvement in the footballer's cardiovascular endurance.